Hey, it's Meg. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be doing another journal with me session for Junk Journal July. I've got a few things in my journal, which is why it looks really chunky. Just went around and gathered a few bits before I sat down to film, just so that I had them to hand. As you can see, this is getting super duper chunky now. So I do have string to keep it closed, but I'm just absolutely loving how this is turning out. So we are on day 26 today, which is warmth, and I'm probably gonna do a page that has some like warm tones to it, and also maybe journal just about the hot weather that we're having recently. And I love that I've got a really flat surface to work on. There's no bulk underneath or like bending of pages. So this is the page that I'm going to work on, and it's got a little bit of coffee dye, a bit of a light sort of wash in places. So let's just dab this on here. And I mean, to be fair, if it does go on to the other side, then it'll just add a bit of charm and interest to the journal. I've also got some water after the side, just so that I can dilute the coffee in places where I want it to maybe be not so strong, and then also add in some stronger elements here. So the reason that I'm adding the coffee is just because I feel like with the different papers that I have, it's feeling a little bit disjointed. So I just wanted to bring some coffee across all of the papers, just to bring things together a little bit. I know that it won't really show up on the brown paper, but it will show up on this paper. So I'm just going to add some more in spots where I want it to maybe show up a bit more. So this is the page now that the coffee has dried, and in the process the pages have kind of pulled up a bit, the papers. So what I'm going to do is just glue those back down, and I'm just going to fold this like this, just so I can get an idea of what the page looks like on its own. This turned out really dark for some reason, so I don't really like that. So that's probably going to get covered maybe by some collage. So I've just got some random scraps here. What I think I'm going to do is just add some of this brown packaging paper, and it's a slightly different tone to this brown, and I'm maybe going to just pop this here just so that we cover that dark spot, because I'm not really a fan of that. And this paper is shiny on one side, so I'm just going to stick the shiny side down just so that we have the matte surface to work on. And what I'm going to do is add some stamping just as like background elements. So I have this set of stamps, so I'm just going to take an acrylic block and just pop some of the stamps onto it. So these are kind of background stamps. You've got little text elements and also boxes that you could add some journaling into. So I'm just going to use this text one, just add my ink, and then I'm just going to use this as, like I said, a background element just to add some texture. So I'm going to butt this up against the edge, maybe in the corner here. And I'm not too bothered about it stamping perfectly, because as you can see, it's just adding a nice little bit of interest to the background of our page. So I'm probably going to add this just in a few different places across the page, just to bring everything together as well. And as you can see, I'm not like stamping down and looking for that clear stamp. I'm just gently pressing, and I might like cut off half of the stamp and just use the top, or just use the bottom. And I'm getting ink all over my hands, but it doesn't matter. And then maybe let's do one more. Let's see. So we've done the text and we've done the little postmark. These are all just really nice for texture, but let's use this one. So this is a little registered mark, and let's pop that there. So it's really subtle, but it just adds a little something to the page. And then I'm going to use some of this vellum paper pad that I've absolutely been loving, just to add some detail onto my page. But what I do sometimes, because they've got, some of them have really like harsh edges on them, is that I will just trim around the part that I want. So I think for this page, like I said, I'm going to be using things that have the warmth, so that's why I've added like the coffee, and used a prompt as a way to inform my color choices. There's different ways that you can interpret prompts. You can obviously go really literal, or you can take them in different ways as well. So now that I've cut it out, I'm just going to choose somewhere to pop this on my page. I'm probably going to pop this in an area where there isn't the brown paper, because it will blend in more seamlessly. So I think I also want to add this leaf. Not anything too special, but I just think it will add some nice border to my page. So I'm imagining it coming down here and framing something on my page over here. Okay, so I've cut this out, and honestly I'm not going to worry too much about the white space there. That doesn't bother me too much, and that's probably going to be really fiddly to cut out, so we'll just leave it like that. And I'm just going to position this so it's somewhere that is framing the page a bit, or maybe I could do it this way. What do we think? The white isn't as stark over this part. Maybe I'm going to do it over here. Yeah, let's add it over there, because that gives a bit more balance to the page, because we already have something on this side. There we go. Yeah, so you can see the white, but it doesn't stand out as much as it did against that. And then I'm probably going to maybe stick a bit of collage behind this just to add a bit more dimension to it. Peel that bit up as well. I should have done this before I stuck it down, but never mind. Or you could also, if you're working in an accordion, you could just fold it over and just have it to work with on the next page. And I'm just going to push that actually, because that adds some nice texture to the page. Again, something very, very subtle. But yeah, I think we now need to start working on some sort of focal point. So I have this little cutout from some tea-dyed, it's like scrap paper from a notebook, that I think might look nice here, and I wonder if it would look nice with the leaf over the top. Let's see. That's quite nice, isn't it? Let's glue that down there. So I'll just pull that leaf up for now. I'm so bad at gluing things down and then realizing I actually want to lift it up and add things on, and I'm always telling people, like, you know, make sure that you definitely want to glue things down and like try things out, and then I end up always doing it anyway, so you know, never mind. I'm just going to add some glue on the back of that to make sure it's glued down. There we go. So adding things like over the top as like overlaps can help things to feel less disjointed on your page and really bring them together. So I think what I'm gonna do is add like a label perhaps, and then maybe do we want another journal spot? That's kind of cute to be there to kind of push the coffee back a bit. Let's add that there. And I really like that label there as well, so I'm definitely gonna stick that straight down. Let's just add this here, and then we'll just add this label here. So I think that is gonna be perfect for stamping our date. So it's 26, so I'll just grab my ink pad and again make sure it's the right way up. Someone actually told me a tip in the comments last time I was saying about this. The brand name of your date stamp or whatever should face you, and then you know it's the right way up, which is a great tip. So if you also struggle with making sure that your date stamp is the right way up, then maybe try that too. I've done that a bit wonky, so I'm just gonna come in and do my standard just stamping loads of the date. I really like that effect actually, and it's a great way of just cleaning off your stamp a bit. Let's see what I want to do next. I think we want some collage. We always want some collage, so I'm going to bring out my trusty little box and just see what I've got in here. It's absolutely overflowing, but let's take a little look in here. So we'll check I'm in frame because there's so much of it. So maybe a little tag might be cute, or we've just got little scraps of paper. We've already got some brown paper, but maybe some grid might be nice. So when I'm looking at this random just pile of scraps, I'm thinking about colors, textures, and contrast as well. So if something is completely different, then it can add a really nice contrast to things. So like for example, this grid is quite bold, but with everything else being quite soft, it adds a nice contrast. Or there's this tag. There's just absolute chaos in here. Let me pop this away before I get lost in all the papers. So I've just picked out a few things. Tag might be nice to use, perhaps. I've also picked out this really pretty ribbon, which maybe I will add as a tab. The only issue with an accordion is I can't really add a tab like on the side of the page, so it would have to be on the top. Just want to add some more patterns really. Tag is a nice spot for some extra journaling, and I think maybe this is like some paper tape that's got like a craft pattern on it. I'm just going to add it maybe along the bottom here. So I think that was making it look a bit too busy, so I'm just going to take that off. I feel like lately in my journal I'm always really walking the line between things being too busy and then things being not busy enough. I'm trying to find that balance, because I do like when pages are quite full in terms of like lots of interest on the page. So for example, a page I did the other day for the Happy Mail prompt for day 19, this was one that I really liked, and as you can see there's a lot more happening on the page, but almost like in a controlled way. Same goes for this page as well, quite a bit going on but fairly controlled. This one was negative space, and again this one a lot going on but fairly controlled. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for with these pages, and I'm just debating whether to put brown tag or manila tag, but I would maybe rip this tag like this. And this is something that's adding a fair bit of contrast to my page because it's quite stark compared to some of the other colours. It's balancing out these like warmer tones with the cooler tones, and what I'm going to do is maybe bring some of this in as well, because it looks a bit like it's floating on my page. So if I come in with this and just pop this across, it's like blending it into the page a little bit more. And then I kind of want to add a bit more detail with my stamps. So I've obviously got them in the background, but I maybe want to bring them to the forefront a bit more. So what I'm going to do is come back in with my stamps, and I'm just going to add some of these really cool textured elements. There we go, that looks really cool, doesn't it? And then maybe one of the lighter stamped ones too, just to blend it in a bit more with the page, because like I said, even with adding this it looked like it was floating a little bit, so I really wanted to ground it in the page. And maybe add one of these too, a little like number. Make sure I've got it the right way around. So we have a journal spot here, a journal spot here, and maybe want to add something else. Let's see, I have these floral clear stickers, so I was thinking I could add one of these maybe that has more of the warmer tones. So we'll pick out maybe like the oranges, the reds, see which ones we like. Because this one, but it's so tiny, but I guess it's a nice little addition without overwhelming the page too much. Those are all really cool because they're blues and purples. So I'm just going to set these over to the side just for now and decide which of these I want, just because I think this will add a bit more warmth to the page. So that's a bit too subtle, I think. This one, I quite like the red one. That's quite nice. I'll go for this one. And what I'm going to do is, because these have got, although it's clear, they've got quite a border, so I'm just going to trim off the excess border just so that you can't see it as much. And I'm not being too precise because although you will be able to see it, it's clear, so it's not immediately obvious that I haven't done an amazing job with the cutting. And then I'm just going to peel the back off this and whoops, stick it down. I think that's everything for this page. It will just need some writing with my brown fine liner, which I'm absolutely loving. So I did this in, let's see, like here, the brown fine liner, and here, and here, and here. I'm just loving the brown fine liner. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this journal with me and this spread come together. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.